This week's tip is more about lifted increases. I've reviewed a couple of lessons lately where there has been a problem, and it always takes me a while to figure out what the problem is. Now, the two first increases, and you'll get a clearer picture of this in the blog where I'll label them, is this is a right slanting lifted increase, and you can tell because the extended leg slants towards the right. This is a left slanting, and the long leg goes towards the left. Now, this is one way I have seen these increases made. And I'll show you how this one happens in a minute. Notice that there's a large hole there, and there's a big stitch and then two little stitches, a big stitch and two little stitches coming out of there. And another way that I've often seen these things made is there is a twisted loop here, and then there is a twisted loop on this side. Hello, Petty Paw. And neither of those things are correct. Now, when you're making this increase, the one way that you can make it wrong is to go right into the center of the stitch. When you're working this, you're supposed to use this leg, the right leg for the right slanting, the left leg for the left slanting. And if you go into the center of the stitch rather than lifting that leg and using it to make the stitch, you're going to get what looks like this. Again, I'm using this leg. Now, when I'm using this leg, and the reason why it's called a lifted increase is I can actually lift it up and put it on my needle and then knit it. Or what I usually do is I just insert my needle into the back. Here's the leg, and I insert it at the back, and then I work it. Either of those work. What does not work is to lift this leg, put it on there, and then to knit it in a twisted fashion. And I tell you, this takes some effort to do. And when I see this, I'm always impressed that someone has done this, because it's a whole heck of a lot harder to do. And you can see that that leg is twisted. I've taken the leg, I've stretched it out, and twisted it. Neither of those look good. Now, what you want to do is make sure that it is open. There's a column of stitches coming out, a column of stitches coming out in that direction, and that the right leg is extended. Now, another thing, let's look at the left ones. And I'll do the left one right here to prevent you from having to watch me knit. And I knit this stitch, okay, and then instead of using this leg, I go into the center of that stitch. That is wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. It's just going to leave a great big old hole in your work that's going to look like this one. You could use it for a decorative effect, I guess, but it is not the right way to make a lifted increase. So that's one thing you can do wrong. The other thing that you can do wrong, and I see this on the left side a lot more, is I knit the stitch, and then I put this loop. And when you put that loop on there, we're accustomed to knitting into the front. But in this case, if I knit into the front, what's it going to do to that loop? It's going to twist it. So what I want to do is if I lift that leg that way, I want to make sure that I work into the back. I do not want to twist that top leg. Now, I could also put it on in this way, and then it wouldn't be twisted. So either of those things will work. And those are the correct ways to make lifted increases and the wrong ways.